Hi, my name is Prisha Jaykumar. My metric number is 1061. DFS 40043 Information Security Management PBT and PBT presentation. My friend name is Pravina Mongiram Surendram. Her metric number is 1067. Introduction. Risk management can be defined as a process that should seek to eliminate, reduce the control risks, and enhance benefits and avoid detriment from speculative exposures. The purpose of risk of management is the manage of the potential risks by identifying, analyzing, addressing them. This process can help to reduce the negative impact and emerging opportunities. The result may help to mitigate the likelihood of risk occurring and the negative impact when it happens. Risk is defined as an event or incident that has a probability of occurring and will have either a positive or negative impact of the project should that is a risk occur. A risk may have one or more causes and if it occur one or more impacts. So this plan documents the processes, tools and procedures that will be used to manage and control those events that could have a negative impact on a Malaysia Airlines and Berhad project. It's the controlling document for managing and controlling all project risks. Aside from that, this plan also intended for guiding the project management team throughout all the whole process of managing project risk which includes such major steps as risk analyzing, risk identification, respondent, then risk controlling. 1.2 Process. The first process is identifying the risk. Identifying the source of risk and potential event that could impact the organization's objectives. There are many different types of risks: legal risks, environmental risks, market risks, regulated risks, and much more. It is important to identify as many of these risk factors as possible. The second process is analyzing the risk. The review of risk associated with particular action or even where risk may be analyzed based on a quantitative and qualitative basis. The third is response to the risk. Include two main tasks which are planning how to respond to risk and executing and monitoring. Monitoring the risk, an iterative process that uses progress and deliver status reports to monitor and control risk. One point three, risk identification. Risk identification is a basic step of risk management. This step reveals and determines the potential risks which are highly occurring and other events which occur very frequently. Risk is investigated by looking at the activity of organization in all the direction and attempting to introduce a new exposure which will arise in the future from changing the internal and external environment. Correct risk identification ensures risk management effectiveness. The project team as well as appropriate stakeholder will be involved in risk identification, which will include an assessment of environmental variables, organization's culture, and project management plan, which will include the project scope. As a result, we may able to prohibit a program, company, or investment from reaching its goal. The risks that we facing need to identify more detail about the threat and the impact of our project to prevent the bad condition. Risk can be a threat probability and the impact of vulnerability. When the incident happens, we need to act immediately to avoid from the bad consequences that will give a bad impact to the Malaysia Airline Berhad. This exactly will reduce and pass by the risk that occur to the company. So risk identification will be one of the most things when we want to prevent from a bad risk from Malaysia Airlines Syndrome. Malaysia Airline Berhad. Vulnerability. Database of Malaysia Airline Berhad is out of date. Treat exploitation virus asset sensitive data such as employee and customer name, phone number and address. Impact is very high. Incident, the estimate time to gain the risk is clearly close and around the corner. Concessions. Sentinel info can be lost and the Malaysia Airlines Berhad will be closed for the database management. 1.4 Risk Analysis. Risk analysis involves examining how the project's result and objectives may change due to the impact of the risk event. All risks identified will be evaluated in order to determine the rank of possible project outcomes. Qualification will be used to identify when risks should be pursued and responded to first and which risks can be ignored. The project manager will analyze and the probability and the impact of identified risks with input from the project team using the following approach. First is probability. High, greater than probability, 70% of occurrence. Medium, between 30% and 70% probability of occurrence. Low is below 30 probability of occurrence. Impact, high, risk that has a potential to greatly impact project cost, project schedule and performance. Medium, risk that has the potential to slightly impact project cost, project schedule or performance. Low, risk that has relatively little impact on cost, schedule or performance.
1.5 Risk Response Planning. Risk response plan usually have an impact on time and cost. Therefore, it is mandatory that the time and cost of the defined response plan calculated as accurately as possible. Avoid. If the activity has a high likelihood of occurring and it will also cause significant financial harm, it is better to find avoidance. We can avoid using simple password. For example, using password as password ABC12345. In addition, we also can educate employees to be aware on how to keep customer sensitive information safe. It is very important to use high-level security firewall. Mitigate. If can't avoid the risk, we can mitigate it. We can identify ways to reduce the probability or the impact of the risk. For example, we can encourage members to change their account password once in 3 months and also inform the customer about the importance of their sensitive information. Upgrade the security system to maximum level possible. Accept. Sometimes you must buckle down and accept it. If accepting the risk is more profitable than any other option, then it is the optimal strategy. Nothing will be done if we can't prevent mitigate the risk and can't take any steps to decrease. Retention is the most appropriate option when the loss potential severity is minimal regardless of how often it is predicted to occur, or when risk assurance costs are larger over time than the actual loss. Transfer. The best option is to share the risk instead of handling it alone. The possibility is still there, and transferring the risk is the safe bet. Make another party responsible for the risk. Another way is to transfer them to third parties. Life insurance is one example of appropriate risk transfer. One point six. Risk monitoring, controlling and reporting. The risk reporting is continuously updated from the identification of the risk by planning the risk response and updating the status during monitoring control risk. The possible impact that might happen is, example, Malaysia Airline BHT's rating will be affected. So we must maintain customer rating at the highest star possible. The customer will not trust Malaysia Airline BHT. So we must take care of our customers' credential. Malaysia Airline BHT financial will drop dramatically. So we need to manage and maintain our company properly. Virus exploitation, database out of date. When we gonna use a new antivirus software, we actually can controlling the risk with make a good scanning the virus that existed on Malaysia Airline BHT system. Also, we respond to the risk with hiring professional malware analysis. So they have skill to risk monitoring and make a good documentation for Malaysia Airline BHT. This will incredibly reduce the chance from getting such a bad malware on the company. 1.7 Management Plan Approval. So this is our management plan approval.